welcome to Empire Total War. We're going to go for a Venice world domination campaign using a minor factions mod that I found on ModDB. Alright, let's have a look. So we've got Grand Campaign, and we'll skip over. So these are all the factions that you can play. Some are vanilla and some are obviously not. I'm going to skip straight to Venice. Let's see, Venice. Oh, here we go, coming up. Venice, right. So we're going to go World Domination. Campaign difficulty we're going to keep on hard, and battle difficulty also on hard. Now, the reason I'm starting with Venice is one, because it's quite a fun campaign. I've done a few tests over the last couple of years, and conquering this and creating a new Roman Empire and then slowly moving over to America and India, also a lot of fun. Now, the other reason I'm starting as Venice instead of, say, the Italian states is because Venice have two regions. So they start with capital of Venice, and they start with Moira, who cares? But they start with them, basically. So if you lose your capital, it doesn't mean game over straight away, because that can be super annoying when you accidentally let the Austrians invade, and then they take your capital, and then that's it, game over. Gameplay options, we're going to have no advisor help. We are going to show the CPU moves, automatic city management, and no battle time limit. Alright, let's dive in. I'm playing on quite an old laptop, so the graphics aren't going to be amazing, but I guess we'll see. Nothing will ever be attempted if all possible objections must first be overcome. Okay. Dr. Samuel Johnson, essayist, biographer, and poet. I am recovering from a cold as well, so if you hear me coughing, or if you can tell that my voice is a little bit strained, then that's why. Alright, we are. First things first, we've got Venice. Now, the mod I'm using has a little glitch where the fog of war won't reveal the whole territory, so all you have to do is grab one of your agents or a member of your army or anything like that. I'm going to take the gentleman here and move him over to this little building, and that should reveal all the fog of war around your major settlement. It looks like it hasn't done it on this side, so what I'll do is I'll grab my rake, this guy, Mr. Lusato, and we'll just move him over to here just to reveal the fog of war. And then what I usually do with the rake when I'm playing as Venice, because he's pretty useless early on, unless you want to use him as a bit of a scout, I just drop him here, and I'll show you why. Because we have this army here from the Italian states, and this usually stops them from being able to just march straight into your capital. Now we're going to just quickly jump down to Moria, and do the same thing. So grab the units, and then just move them over somewhere. Doesn't need to be far.
Ancora in perfetta efficienza.
Okay, and what have we got down here? So we've got minor settlement with a magistrate, and we can recruit conscripts and pikemen. And then we've got basic roads and a few troops. Now, what I think I'll probably do is take the decent troops, get them out of the settlement, pop them on these ships, and send them back up to here, so we can start building an army using that extra general and that set of cannons that was also there. Now, what have we got here? You don't want to use all of your treasury money straight away. You want to do it over the course of a few turns, just purely because you're not going to have much of an income to start with, because you've only got these 2 tiny settlements. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly build up over the course of about 4 or 5 turns, while we do our best to keep the Barbary states away from our trade routes and shipping. Okay, now our first goal, I think, as Venice, should be to unite the Italian peninsula, including Sicily, and we'll even try and get Corsica and Sardinia all united under one banner. That would be our best option. Unfortunately, it does mean that we have to go to war with Spain fairly early on. But Spain in the beginning of the campaign isn't really that much of a threat on land. They do have a few small armies scattered around, but you've got, this one here in Milan, which is just not too difficult, but our forces are pretty limited as well, so we have to just keep an eye on that. And then Naples they have, which is virtually undefended, and they also have Sardinia over here, which again, very little in the way of troops. The real threat, actually, from Spain comes from the sea in the first 50-60 turns of the campaign, because they have these bad boys, galleons. And the galleons have a much higher firepower than anything we have to start with. There are plenty of ways of defeating galleons if you know how to maneuver your ships properly. But when you get a pretty large fleet of just nothing but galleons, it can be a bit of a challenge to take them on, especially because we only have a small amount of ships which are here. So we currently have a 1/5 rate, a 6th rate, and a brig. Now that's not a lot of firepower. 92, 56, very little in the way of guns. Okay. That's out of the way. So what first thing we're going to do is, you'll notice that Venice doesn't have a school anywhere. So rather than demolish this, which is eventually going to generate a decent amount of income, because if we look at the Weaver's Cottage, it generates 787 wealth in the region, plus that, basically. So we don't want to demolish that, but we do have this, which sure keeps the lower and middle classes happy and spawns a rake, but again, rakes are pretty useless in the first, especially this guy. This guy sucks. He's really bad. He may be sneaky, but that's all he can do, is sneak about. He can't really. I used him once to try and assassinate this guy, and he just died immediately, so pointless. Useless little man that he is. Anyway, first thing we're going to do is demolish the Baldy house, because, again, spawns rakes, but who cares? So we're going to demolish that, and then the next turn we'll build a school. Right. Now, recruitment-wise, all we can currently recruit is cavalry, cannons, and conscripts. Now, conscripts are okay if push, if you're really shafted for men and you need someone to just step in and soak up some bullets. They're okay. Same with the militia. But what you really want is to get a barracks up and running as fast as you can, so you can start recruiting line infantry, because they're going to be the main sort of bulk of your army. Now, so we've got the army encampment here, which allows us to recruit blah 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 blah. Then we're going to go and just upgrade that to a barracks so that we can recruit line infantry. Because what you really want is, you've got 120 men and they've got a range of 70 and accuracy of 40. Yeah, they're not the best, but once you get decent bayonets, they become quite powerful little units. Venice, at least in the mod that I'm playing, doesn't have any special units. So, for instance, the British have the Scots Guard and the Dutch have the Swiss Guard and that kind of stuff. But in the mod I'm using, that Venice doesn't really have any of that. So we've just got vanilla units at our disposal. So we've just got to do our best with what we've got, and we've just got, again, vanilla ships. We don't have a shipyard, we just have a trade port. Now what I usually do, but I'm not going to do it this time, is I will exempt this region from tax to make port grow, and then turn that into a military encampment, to a dockyard rather, which then can build warships. But I think instead of that, what we're going to do this time is try and take these sections, these lands, these towns or cities or encampments or whatever you want to call them, and we'll convert one of these into a military dockyard so we can start producing warships straight away. And I'm also going to try and take some troops and some ships over here and take Algiers as early as I can, so that I can get a trade port here and have easier access to the trade theatres in the different parts of the world. You know, the best trade theatre I think is usually this one, but it's pretty much monopolised by the Dutch and the Spanish and the pirates first, so you have to kind of worm your way into there as quickly as you can. And then after that one you've got this one here, coast of Brazil, which is great for sugar. What you also want to do as early as you possibly can is get to here and take out the pirates as quickly as possible, just purely because they suck and they will just destroy any shipping that you can generate in the early game, because they usually have a fleet in each trade theatre. I can't remember if they have one in every trade theatre, but they definitely have one here in the Ivory Coast, and then they also have one here in the Straits of Madagascar. Now, another top priority, or at least one that I've found, is good sort of startup, especially if you're playing the Dutch campaign, because you can start here with Ceylon, is to get rid of the Maratha Confederacy as soon as you can. So they've got two settlements here, and when you're playing as the Dutch, you can quite quickly build up an army and go conquer this, and then eventually go and conquer this. But because they will inevitably spread like a bit of a plague across India, and once they're done conquering India, they'll slowly work their way up into the Near East and the Middle East. Middle East, Near East. And then they'll just slowly work in. And they'll also, one thing that's really annoying that they tend to do, is they will send just endless amounts of fleets and full stack armies to the Caribbean, and they'll just take over random sections, which would be fine, but they never really do anything. So they'll get to here and they'll have just 6 full stacks just floating around the Caribbean, and they won't go and conquer anyone that they're at war with. It gets a bit weird and tedious, and then it just can slow down the game after a while. But I don't know if that's due to my laptop just being a bit old and frail, or whether it's the game mechanics itself. But either way, Maratha Confederacy are truly expansionist, and they will just conquer everything. Whereas if you side with the Mughals, they are pretty nice, and they'll mostly just leave you alone. As long as you don't attack them, and if you ally with them, they'll just leave you be. Same with Mysore. Mysore can get a bit uppity if they ally with the Marathas in the first few turns, which they usually do. So a lot of the time you end up conquering this, then this, and then Mysore will inevitably declare war on you, and so you have to go conquer this as well. But that is a pretty good resource generating region, especially when you control Ceylon as well, because of the diamond mines, tea plantations, and the spice fields. So you can get a lot of money through spice. Now we have the trade tab, which I can't get to because of the recording bar, which is quite annoying, but you get the idea. We'll try and work through that in the next episode. Anyway, now let's make our first few moves. So first things first, we've got
La
these
nave è in
guys
condizioni
moving back,
perfette, capitano.
and we are going to construct our barracks. We're also going to build roads in both settlements, because actually the roads generate wealth in the region, which is good turn by turn. We're also going to upgrade this because we want to upgrade that to a military barracks, so we can use this as a jumping off point to go and eventually, where are you? Take on the the Ottomans, because the Ottomans get quite shirty with you if you don't ally with them straight away. So it's good to conquer them, and if you're going for what I'm kind of going for, which is the new Roman Empire, then you have to kind of conquer these lands anyway, because if you look at the map of the Roman Empire, it stretches all the way to Edinburgh, Scotland, in the west, and then in the east it goes to Constantinople, which is here, although I think in this it's called Istanbul. But we all remember the song, Istanbul is actually Constantinople. So there you go. So first few targets are Spain, Barbary States, Ottomans, and the Marathas. Because if you can gain a foothold in India, you can get quite a lot of money through trade. Now back to this. So we have got our barracks constructed, we've got our road, we've got our rake in his little... He's just going to hold that bridge, he'll blow it up if we get into too much trouble with the Italian states. We will trade with the Italian states, actually, but we'll do our best not to ally with them at first, because we don't want to break the treaty inevitably when we invade them. So first we'll go with that one. Yep, right, that's all done. Now this fleet here, we are going to move here just to control entrance to our little part of the, what's this, the Adriatic Sea? Yeah, the Adriatic Sea. There's the Mediterranean, that's the Adriatic. Okay, so we're going to put this little fleet next to the heel of Italy, just to stop any pirates from coming in. Okay, that's good. We've got our infrastructure here. And we're probably going to leave it at that, and we're going to save that 2,000 and add it to our next treasury, because we see here we've only got 1,802 dollary dues coming in. So there we go. Okay, I think it's good. And then the next turn what we'll do is we'll upgrade this, and the turn after that we'll upgrade this. And then by that time the infrastructure should be in place to generate a little bit more wealth from here and from here as well. And then what we'll do after that is we'll move down into the Mediterranean, and we'll try our best to find some of the Barbary pirates and take down their ships, as you do. Okay, so our first turn done, I think. I don't think there's anything else that we need to do. No, let's just go for it. Oh, the French are going in for an attack on the Barbary pirates. See who wins. It looks like the French won that one, but they did lose a ship. And the Barbary pirates are heading off with their tail between their legs. No, the French are off somewhere else. I do have it on slow speed, but if you hit the spacebar, you can actually speed it up. And they move like little bolts of lightning. Meow, meow, meow. When you have show CPU moves on, you can only see the moves that happen on or around trade routes. Oh, here, what's the Italians up to? Ah, they're just moving back to their settlement and constructing some stuff. Excuse me. Okay, we're back. Now let's see what happened while we were gone. First things first, we had a couple of traits gained. Management, Treasury, Administration. Oh, the other thing we need to do is we will have to rearrange our ministers, but I don't know if we can get to the ministers tab. Yes, we can. Okay, so head minister, he sucks. Treasury minister, he also sucks. He's pretty good. Justice minister, so you should probably be. Let's actually have another look. What are you? Store holder, status quo, honest. So you should probably be the head. That's 1 prestige, 4 diplomatic relations, 2. Yeah, right. So you're better there. Justice, you're probably going to be best here. -2 recruitment cost from naval units. We're not really recruiting, so that's not amazing, but the -2% upkeep cost is actually pretty good, and the naval research is also pretty good. Now then, what are you? Status quo, honest, industrial revolutionary. We'll keep you there, and then what are you? Agrarian. I don't actually know what that means. +1 to management, +1 to happiness, -1. Oh, okay, so it's good that he's not managing the treasury. Who have we got down here? Oh, rubbish. Ooh, you're good. Frugal and thrifty, what does that mean? +1 to -1 to so -1. Whereas most people can be appeased with cheap horse and gin by the bucket, some of us have more refined taste. This man has done much for his. I didn't see what that said, but he's pretty good. But if you fire one of them, it's not guaranteed that you'll get the good one. Chances are you'll get this guy or this guy. It's pretty rubbish. So we'll just leave it at that for now. So we've got another election in 6 turns. If you, what are you? Oh, he's pretty rubbish as well, actually. Non-religious. Great. Good man. Let's hope he dies pretty quickly so we can get a new national leader, because this guy currently sucks. So we'll just leave those as they are for now. I think. Come out of that. Close that tab. What's this? War declared. Russia and Sweden. Okay. War declared. Russia and Austria. Blah blah blah. So just Europe's going a bit mental, especially Eastern Europe. Austrians will probably just lure everybody into a war at one point or another. That's why it's good not to ally with them at the start. It does seem like the little fog of war glitch has happened again, so we'll just move this guy over here. Now, got our base unit here, so we can build our school. School is obviously used for researching different technologies. Yep, okay. Now, what we're going to do here, so we've only got 2,802 left in our treasury. We are going to move our general and cannons into this state. So this army here now currently protecting. When we can build line infantry, what I'll probably do is disband these guys, or maybe not all of them. I'll probably disband at least one. Because actually pikemen are surprisingly handy in the early game, just purely because of they're the only solely melee infantry unit that you get as the European sort of powers. I think when you play as the natives, then you get the, I want to say medicine men, that are like a really strong melee unit, or Native American warriors, or something along those lines. Anyway, back to this. Now what are we going to do? So, first turn, we said we were going to upgrade this. So do that one. These is 800, which isn't amazing, and then we've got another there, so that will us with 2,600 and something, which is not amazing, but fine enough. If you want to, you can disband these guys and save yourself 88 upkeep each throughout turn, but instead what we're going to do is we're actually going to move them down to here. Just do a do a little bit of piracy. Nothing wrong with a little bit of piracy now and then. So now we're going to take our brig and move it down to. We would normally attack this port, but it looks like the Knights of St. John have beat us to it. So we're just going to move to the brig on its own, just here. And then if they move, we'll just dive in and attack their port. So that keeps them pretty bankrupt. Now we're going to take our 6th rate, and we're going to take him to here, and hopefully stop them from producing any more ships. Perfect. And then we're going to take this one, and we're going to move it up to here. Because if any of the Barbary pirates are going to try and come from this direction, anywhere in the Mediterranean here past Sardinia, then we should be able to get in their way. And hopefully have a little fleet battle. You say it's it's only one ship, but with one sort of 5th rate or one frigate, you can do quite a lot of damage, especially if you know how to use the wind. Anyway, I'm going to jump back down to Moira. So we haven't got enough money to really do anything here. The only thing we can do is just make sure that we've got our infrastructure being built, which we do. And then we'll jump back up here, and everything is kind of dandy over this way, so we will end our turn. See, that's what the issue is with Austria, is they will just march in, because I think from the very beginning of the campaign they have military access to your land. So they can just march straight in, take your, if they want to, they can just take your capital straight away, because they have superior forces, and you don't have any. Also, Austrians for some reason have larger groups of line infantry. Fine. Yep, that's what I was hoping for. So we've got a 5th rate, which is mine, and we've got another 5th rate here, which is an Admiral's flagship, which they've obviously, I guess, taken from the French. It's fairly equal, but I'm at full power and he is at half. Nah, a bit more than half. But anyway, we're going to dive in and we're going to take this 5th rate off their hands from Farouk al-Suri, if that is your real name. Anyway, let's go. Win with ability, not with numbers, which we're kind of going to prove here, but not really, because we're going to win with both ability and numbers. My laptop's quite slow, it is pretty old. I am due for an upgrade, but I've just had more important things to spend my money on of late. Like penny whistles and moon pies. Okay, now then, we have got the San Domenico. And we've got the wind going this way, so what we want to do is probably go a bit over here. Now we're going to go into the wind, and then when we meet our enemy, we're going to turn, and then turn with the wind. And we're going to switch to chain shot, because I actually don't want to sink this one. I want to take it as a prize to help build my own fleet instead of having to wait and build a military dockyard. So we'll just end the deployment, and we will find him in the fog. He's over here, so we're going to just start making our way down south. Sailing fast. We're homebound. So we're actually going across the wind now, which is handy. So it makes it a little bit faster. This arrow is always what direction the wind points. Now, sailing ships like this, they were fastest obviously going with the wind, because that would put all of the wind going into the sails here. We don't have gallants, think they're called gallants. Sails at the top there, which add a little bit of extra speed. Topsails, gallants, and royals. I think royals are the ones that extend to either side. And then topsails are these, and then gallants were the ones at the top as well, I think. One of the things I love about Total War is that you can zoom straight in. Now obviously the graphics aren't amazing, but look at the model of that. Look how nice it is, even at low graphics. Now you're ready to sail the horn. That's enough of my terrible singing. I'm going to speed it up a little bit just to kind of engage a little faster. Looks like we're about to come into range. So what we'll do is we'll go to about half speed. And we will wait another couple of seconds and we will start our turn now. And that should bring us just about into range. Yes, there we go, got our first volley off, and then we just zoom away as fast as we can. Now then, the trick here when you're doing this is to keep with the wind, and you want to try and avoid getting shot with their chase cannons. And you just want to, every time your guns are reloaded, just turn into them, shoot their sails, zoom away. Make sure you're at full speed. If you double click, I'm attacked from astern there. See, the problem with the 5th rates is they have equal range, so if I can shoot him, then he can also shoot me. So I'm going to try and stay at max range, but not always possible until their sails are a bit decimated. Now I might take a bit of fire here. Try and get out of the way. Oh, yeah, took a couple of rounds there, killed 3 men, bastards. But what you want to do is do your best to just demast the frigate here, so that you can just easily manoeuvre around them. Yeah, there we go, so we took down 1 mast. We still have 2 and running. Oh no, oh, we managed to take down 2 with 1 shot. Yeah, that's pretty good. So now, they are sitting ducks, and we can just sail around them as much as we like, decimating their sails and their cannons. Try and get in a little closer. Sort of max range there. Cool. Ooh, they took down one of our guns. Now, for some reason, we are. Oh, there we go. That was a decent broadside, and we've managed to dismast them completely. So now we are going to try and sort of skirt around and get behind them. Because with ships like this, their main hull armour is on the side. Okay, because that's usually where they're firing from. They're weakest at the front and at the back. So there's a manoeuvre that you can use called crossing the T, which is where you come around either in front of them or behind them, so that your full broadside is going into their weakest points. So we're going to just try and get in as close as we can. Sometimes they can actually just maneuver around you pretty easily, so in that instance you just want to get in front of them and just blast them with round shot for as long as you can until they either surrender or sink. But because we're trying to take them as a prize, just going to stay at their max range as well as our max range, speed it up a little bit because we're going against the wind. Oh, they managed to get a shot off there. It's okay. Looks like it was only 1. They might get another one as we cross this sort of angle. Yeah, looks like They're alright, so now we'll come in to the sides, and a good tactic is also to switch to grape shot, get right behind them and just blast away. Using grape shot. His grape shot's actually great at just demolishing the crew, and they've only got 77 and we've got 130, so we could probably go in for a boarding and win that relatively easily, but you don't know really. Just this, we're just going to get in right behind them. Notice we're out of the way of all their guns because their guns are all on the side, and there's about 6 on the front, usually called chase cannons. So we're just going to get right in behind them and weigh anchor and then just blast away. And see, notice they've they've surrendered pretty quickly, which is nice. So now we've taken that ship as prize. Yeah, decisive victory. We lost 3 men and 1 gun. The irony of that sentence isn't lost on anyone now, I think. I really love the artwork of the historical Total War games. Alright, so now we have 2 options. We can either sell the prize, and the prize money is there, 1,315, or we can do what I'm going to do and take it as part of the fleet, and then we'll return it to our first port and give it some repairs, and then send him off on his way to capture a few more prizes. Okay, it's done. Okay, and we're back. Now, what I want to do is, because I hate having the Austrians just standing there, they're friendly with us, but what we're going to do is cancel military access. Get your people out off my lawn, and they'll just stay there for the rest of the game now, I think, at least until either they declare war on us or we declare war on them, and we make our way up and take Austria and work our way up to Poland and Prussia. He says, I'm very optimistic about this campaign. The last few, I think I got quite far in one, but the file corrupted because of it was something to do with the pirates taking Cuba. Or no, I conquered Spain, and then there was a rebellion here which turned into pirates, and then that made it for some reason just glitch out, so I had to cancel that campaign, which was a bit annoying because I got quite far and I had loads of money in my treasury, I had huge armies, huge fleets. I conquered pretty much all of Europe, and I was working my way through the Americas, and then that happened. Yeah. What can you do, eh? It's just old-timey laptops. So we've got our fleet here, they're working their way down. We're going to re-blockade that port, stop them from producing anything. You are not really doing much, so you may as well just commit some acts of piracy, which is funny because that's why we're invading these guys, to stop them from committing acts of piracy. So fun. Our main fleet of 2 small vessels is going to go back to our home port and get some repairs. 2 turns should be fine. And we are up to 2,235, which should be just enough to upgrade this iron workshop, which will then add 600 to the town hall. Okay. Now then, what's gone on? Trade retraded, that's fine. Trait gained. This should be our admiral. His steadying presence on the quarterdeck does much to make the men feel better. Yes. What we call BDE. Gives his men plenty of ammo. And how many turns till our school's done? 2. So once our school's done, we're going to start researching technology. Now, I usually start with canister shot. Because with canister shot and a few cannons and line infantry, you can win pretty much any engagement just by lining up, waiting for them to come to you, blasting them with canister shot as much as you can, and then charging in with your infantry and just hacking them to bits. Which is where the pikemen come in, because they are pretty good at hacking people to bits. Although they've only got a melee skill of 9 and a charge bonus of 3, but they do have quite good defense, and they come really handy in a siege. So if you're under siege and they've managed to breach your walls, you can stand these guys at the breach with pike wall formation, sorry. And then no cavalry, you can just run into your settlement and take the centre. I'm kind of breezing through the first few turns, just purely because we're just trying to get off the ground. Right, so let's take these guys to here. There's not really a lot else for us to do, so just end the turn. Okay, let's see what the Ottomans are up to. You know, just beaking around, looking for clues. They're probably working their way up to attacking us at some point, and they're most likely to attack us from Bosnia or from Athens. So if they manage to get an army and a fleet next to Bosnia, you're kind of screwed, because they can just sail straight over from Bosnia here and just go around and just smack your settlement up. Okay, so now we've got them in there, we're going to just select more and cost 252 to repair them both, but totally worth it because we can use them to take prizes in the future. Now then, our construction of a barracks at Venice is now complete, so now that means we can recruit line infantry, which are the bulk of your army. And once you upgrade them with plug bayonets and socket bayonets and that kind of stuff, they are actually very, very handy, and you can start getting rid of your pikemen, because a socket bayonet, or the plug bayonet rather, turns their musket into just one big pike that they use to go stabby stabby. Anyway. Okay. What we're actually going to do in this turn is we are going to recruit one trade ship, and we're going to try and get our trade empire off the ground. And I think what we'll do is we'll take this 5th rate with our trade ship, and we'll try and work our way down to probably not to India. So we'll probably go to the Windies. No, East Indies. East Indies. That's the East Indies. The Windies are here, which is the West Indies. It's known as the Caribbean, but we call them the Windies. Anyway, so we'll work our way down to there. I think it's probably a good idea, because can we do it? No, we can't. It's a shame you can't grab and drop this box over somewhere. But anyway, in the trade tab, spice is usually the highest grossing trade commodity. He who controls the spice controls the universe. Or words to that effect. And now we are going to... We could recruit... Oh no, we can't, because we spent our money on that trade ship. But so far we're not at war with anybody apart from the pirates. So hopefully we'll be fine. And everyone's kind of okay with us. They're not overly happy. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's because we're at war with the Barbary States and the pirates. with different religions and different government types. What are they? A constitutional monarchy. So we could, I suppose, change to a constitutional monarchy, which would give us better relationship with Britain and Sweden and the Dutch, and also Prussia. But that actually takes quite a bit of effort, and a lot of the minor nations, at least, it's kind of not really worth doing because half of them won't exist by the time you've actually managed to change your democracy, or change to a democracy rather. So we're currently a republic, a Democratic Republic of Venice. Yeah, that's us, and we're real neat. Whatever. Okay. I think that is really pretty much all we can do for this turn as well, because we're just sort of again waiting for everything to be built, so we'll just jump through that. Maybe I will ally with the Italian states just to stop them from attacking me, because they generally do that. They'll just randomly declare war on you at one point, and then they'll just march straight in and take your capital. Now we're up to 2,000, and what have we got coming in? So we've actually gone down per turn, but that's mainly because our naval upkeep has gone up by so much, which is why we should have. He's still -2, so that's good. Okay, now we're going to take our admiral and we're going to send him back out because he's going to hunt some more pirates, hopefully take a few more prizes, and we'll leave that 1/5 rank there to defend just in case the Italians decide to be dicks. Okay, now then, Moira. Do we want to turn you into a military governor's encampment so we can start recruiting troops and then start slowly moving our way into Ottoman territory? So if we take Athens, it's a fairly rich territory because it's got a, what's that, farmland, something, craft workshop, and then there's I think that's wine when you've got the research done, so we will consider it, but it's not always wise to pick a fight with a large empire straight away, especially the Ottomans, the Spanish, the British and the French, because they will just sail in with a huge full stack because the AI cheats basically. They'll just sail in, take your settlements, and then that's it, game over. And yeah, where's the fun in that? So, let's see. That, and our school is now done, so we can jump into research, and I'm going to go straight for canister shot. Although some would argue that actually imperialism is better, or even one of the farming techs, purely because it helps you generate income a little bit faster, or it generates more income, sorry, and then it also, this empiricism, it means you can build a university or a college, and that gets you better research. Okay, now then, what have we got? We are going to recruit 1 unit of line infantry, and we're going to disband 1 unit of pikemen just to help balance that out. So each time we recruit a unit, we'll disband a unit, apart from ships, Navy ships. now back down to Moira. So, oh yeah, we spent all of our money, so we can't do that just yet. Which is silly actually, because we probably should have done that first. So we will. Oh, but I do want that line infantry, just in case, because we're going to start seeing some violence, I think, around here soon. I'll leave it at that and do it the next turn. That's fine. Right, my little hunter. Oh, he's used all of his moves. You're fine. You're also still bombarding that port. You're still pirating. You're still pirating. In fact, what we'll do is we'll take one of you up to here and we'll just try and bombard that or blockade that port just to keep it. Because they will use this, because it's a dockyard, so they will use this to produce galleys, and they'll usually target the Spanish, but they'll also sail down and start mucking about with our shipping. Now notice I'm not really diving straight into warfare and conquering, because that's a great way of becoming bankrupt. Yeah, both morally and treasurerily. Anyway, looks like that's all we can do again for that turn. So, I mean, we could, in theory, get another group of line infantry, or maybe some cav. But I think instead, what we will do is save that money and then add it to this, and then we will just skip our turn. Yes. First few turns is Venice, usually pretty quick. You can get through sort of the first 10 or 11 turns pretty easily. But Ottomans are getting a bit uppity there by the looks of things, so they're probably going to declare war on us any moment within the next few turns. It's a good idea to keep a couple of ships, or at least one ship. You can do a lot of damage with one ship if you're clever, especially if it's a really high. See, there we go. I knew they'd attack the Spanish straight away. Building constructed. Moira. Right, so now we're going to turn this into a military barracks because we do want to have some kind of defence against the Ottomans. Because if you're not careful, they will store all of your towels in a box. Which is a terrible joke, but what can you do? Fear the Ottomans. They store towels and shoes. Anyway, we've got our one trade ship, so we're going to send him out. Start making his way down south. And we do have this Ottoman fleet here, so in fact what I'm probably going to do is do my best to... I can't ally with them because they're an ally of my enemy, which is the Barbary States, but they're very unfriendly, so come out of there, and I think I'll move my admiral. We'll stop him from hunting for a little bit, and I'll just move him straight to here, because so we've got a 5th rate, 2 light galleys, which in high number, 3 light galleys in high numbers are actually quite dangerous because their rate of fires really high. They only have 2 or 3, maybe even 4 cannons on them, but they're big cannons and they do a lot of damage, and a lot of them in a group can really shaft you. Anyway, but again, if you know what you're doing, you can. There's a workaround basically. So we're going to take this fleet, and it might be too many turns for it to register, but we're going to take them to East Indies, and that's 2, 3, 4, 5 turns. So that's 5 turns, which is why we want to take this place as soon as we can and convert this into a doodad. What am I talking about? A trade port, so we can get trade ships from here, and then that's only 2 turns. Yep. What have they got in here then that's causing so much chaos? There, so 4 light galleys. Right. But I think that's all they can produce, because I don't think they can produce 5th rates to start with. I think they can only produce galleys and xebecs, if I'm pronouncing that right, which I'm probably not. Now we've got $789 dues, and not really much we can do with it. We could get some more cannons, I suppose, but we've already got one here. Yeah, so, right, what are you? You're a defending general, you're an attacking general. Petty tyrant, not great. But it does make them move faster, and he's got a drill master. Okay. Now then. Now we can start making some allegiances, hopefully. Now, we are kind of friendly with Spain, but if we ally with Spain, it means the British will attack us, inevitably, because they just do. The French will always attack us after they take, so they'll take Savoy, and then the French will just march through and just destroy us, because they can. So can we ally with Genoa, which is probably a good idea, actually, because they're a border to us. Unfortunately, this offer is acceptable. Okay, so request alliance, and then we'll offer them something. We'll offer them payment of 500, because it's all we've really got. Military alliance, military access. Unfortunately, this offer is still unacceptable. Okie dokie. Italian states. I wasn't going to ally with you, but maybe I will. Glorious day, your decision will bring us great joy. Cool, right. So now we're trading with them and la-la-la-la-la-ing them. Savoy, I think we can ally with you because you're friendly. Request alliance. Not going to become a protector because I can't protect myself, let alone them. But can I offer them tech? No. Military access is all I can really offer them. So these proposals have little to commend them and therefore must be rejected. Fair enough. I wouldn't accept them either. The only other option would be to ally with Spain, but again that would just force the British to attack us. But I guess if we get attacked by the British, we should be able to draw Spain into that war. Let's see. Do they want to be our friend? No. Okay, we'll come back to that when we've got something better to offer. Other than military access, because, I mean, where are they going? Yeah, so now they're allied. And that should hopefully stop. Because if we draw the Italians into a war with the Ottomans, and we'll have a little bit of support there. You're heading off that away. Fine. You're still being pirates. Good little pirates. The reason I'm keeping them here is if the Ottomans do attack us, we can go straight for their sort of jugular there, which is their main trading port, I think. So actually they've got 2 main ones. One of them's here, and one of them's here. We've got 2 ships, so we can just go and then straight to there. And then if they don't like it, well, we can offer them peace. We could also attack this. And if we go to war with the Ottomans, it means we can take Bosnia, which gives us another port there, which will be pretty good in terms of, because we could, I guess, convert it into a military port and take that. Right, okay. We're planning and we're scheming. So we've got room jumping around. Right, army. Army's not amazing. You, in fact, I'm going to take out.
Pronti e in attesa di ordini.
Sorting our troops out. So we've got one general who's going to hold the walls, and then we're going to take all of these guys, put them with you there, and
servo
the
vostro.
militia, and just drop them there.
Altri ordini in attesa di
Drop
ordini.
you there, just to be just to be safe. Alright, that's dealt with, that's dealt with. Problem is they're going to have an election in 2 turns, so it's not going to make the slightest bit of difference. Oh well. Okay, that looks like that's all we can do there, so let's end our turn. See what happens. If anyone's going to be horrible and declare war on us, which hopefully they don't. Be a difficult war at the moment because we are drastically underpowered, drastically underfunded, drastically undermanned. Okay, they haven't declared war on us, which is good. They're probably building up a trade fleet. Oh, I should have seen that one coming. 2v2. I think I will. Do you know, I've never actually used one of these in combat. We're already at an hour, so I'll quickly just do this and then I'll probably get. I'm probably going to lose this one little ship, but that's okay. In fact, I probably could just auto-result it. Would have been alright. Not going to lose much. If anything, I should have sent the 6th rate that we had, or the brig, because the brig is actually pretty good at taking down these little galleys quite quickly because they can get in close, blast them with grape shot, which is just a big naval shotgun. Taking a while. There we go. Now, from what I remember, these only have, so they've got 20 men and 4 guns, and they have obviously the same options, but not to broadside, or is that because I'm in the deployment phase? That's going to say. But they only fire forward. So your best bet is to, but I think that actually the wind direction doesn't really matter with these guys so much because they also use oars to row their way in to position. But what we're going to do is we're still going to try and take out their sails because I don't know, it might slow them down, it might not, I guess we'll see when we get there. But they're just going to sail directly at us, and we're going to sail directly at them, we're just going to blast their sails and then we'll probably just move straight in and shoot them. Or if anything, what we should probably do is just switch straight to canister shot, to round shot. No, I will stick with my usual tactic of blowing away their sails first, getting away, gaining some distance, and then switching to round shot. But our range will be exactly the same. Can these broadside? No. Interesting. Right, fire. Fire, fire, fire. Okay, now turn. Oh, they took out both our guns, but we took out their mast, so we might be able to now sneak into their weak spot, which is their side, switch to round shot, maneuver our way in, give them a quick blast. And you see they're just going to come in and shoot us with much more firepower than we've got. That's the only trouble with these little galleys. They're much more manoeuvrable than you kind of think. And now that we've got round shot, I doubt we'll be able to get in behind them because they're just going to swim around in a circle. So what if we try and kind of trick them into going that way and then quickly switch? Nope, they're going to just shoot us right up the bum. Yep, and we are routing and no point. There we go. Crushing defeat. Who knew? So it looks like in reality the best way of defeating a galley is not bothering to just strip its sails, is to just go straight for round shot. Okay, well, you know, the more you know. Those who expect to reap blessings of freedom must, like men, undergo the fatigue of supporting it. That is also true. Okay. One defeat. Right, well, there we go. We're 1 for 1 by the looks of things. 1 ship lost, 1 remaining. Enemy killed, 1. La la la, blah, 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 blah. It's fine.
Disastro!
Yeah, it is a bit of a disaster. But that's alright, because what we're going to do is we're going to switch this up a little bit. So we're going to take this ship up to here, because it's a bit more powerful. And then we're going to use this little guy to come and blockade the port here. There we go. We're an hour in, so what I think we'll do is leave him there. We've got 1,980 something. We'll probably call it quits there. And now, there's nothing really we can do. That's on its way. You're still committing acts of piracy, which is ironic and hilarious. And we've still got our army here. What's our upkeep? Yeah, see, now we're down to that much, so we need to start getting some more money coming in. And the best way to do that is actually with trade. Now, the bigger the empire that you trade with, actually the better. So, yeah, we'll look at that in the next episode, I think. Anyway, right, this is the first episode of my Venice campaign. We've made a little bit of progress, not a great deal, but we've managed to get a school up and running. We've also managed to get a barracks, and we should at some point get an admiralty, so it means we can research the naval tech, which really comes in handy, especially things like the flintlock cannon and the seasoning. So always season your ships. And then once the canister shot is researched in 2 turns, what we'll probably do then is move on to one of these techs so that we can actually we'll probably do this so we can build a college so we can get faster research. That's probably the better option. And then we'll move on to things like plug bayonets, socket bayonets, square formation and that kind of gubbins. Alright, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I'll be amazed. Because there's not really a great deal that happens in the first few turns of the Venetian campaign. Anyway, have a great day, guys. Bye bye.